Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Scraps Saturday 3. I hope you're all staying safe and warm and getting through a bit of crafting in these trying times, to put it mildly. My internet is fixed, thanks be to God, but something else has gone wrong, which I will tell you about later. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for all the lovely comments you left on my previous videos, and I want to say to Michelle Jackson, yes, I will do a video about how I alter the envelopes, especially the window envelopes. I'll do that early next week, and the same goes to Woolly Steph. I will do a video about how I make my crochet hearts. I found more things to do with the hearts, but we'll get on to that later. So the first thing I made anyway this week was some postcards with my fabric scrap, or not my fabric scraps, my paper scraps. How come these are all upside down? Anyway, as you can see here, it's just a bit of card with layers of torn up paper, die cuts, and then the robins come from napkins, and they're backed onto dictionary pages, and you know, a bit of paint and a bit of gesso thrown onto it. So that's number one. I will be sending these out sooner or later. And this one now, I was going to do something like this for Christmas, but I mean, I don't think I'm a bit too late for that now. And the paint I used to give the sparkly shimmer in the background is this one here. It's from Lidl, and it's just acrylic, let's say acrylic paint, but it's more like a clear paint or varnished with glitter in it, and it's really brilliant. If you're in Lidl and you see this for sale, grab it. I'll grab a few of them. So that's the second one, and then they're all slightly different, and they're really, you can see the paint and the glitter. There's a layer of gesso, a layer of paint, a layer of glitter, which makes these, they almost feel like wood. And here's the last one. I've done 4 so far, but I will make more postcards and send them out as little New Year's greetings to people once the postal system settles down. The backs are plain. I have a stamp for doing the backs of postcards, but it's too small for these, so I'll just have to do them by hand. So that'll be the next thing I'll get on to. I continued on altering envelopes, and as I said, I will do another video about how I make them, going into more detail. This is an A5 envelope cut, or a C5 envelope cut down. And if you've forgotten, these were the ones I showed, the Christmas ones I showed last week, I think, that Michelle wants me to do the video about how I make them. They are easy, and they use up a lot of scraps as well. And if you get birthday cards and you get an envelope, you know, somebody hands you a birthday card and just has your name on the front of it, and you hoard these, this is a lovely way of using them. Yes, I did do that upside down, and yes, it's one of the things you have to be careful with when you're making them. See, this one on the butterfly is inside. Anyway, I'll go into all that in more detail when I do a separate video on it. Now, last week I showed you, reaching over, I was making hearts from crochet hearts from scraps of cotton. Now, the reason I have so many scraps of cotton is I was making this tablecloth, crochet tablecloth, to go over a little table, and it wasn't working. There were too many gaps and holes in it. You know, the pattern was too open, so I just decided I'd rip all the colours. It had loads of colours in it, so I ripped them up. Anyway, I've sewn, these are the puffy hearts. I showed you these last week, but I thought of something else to do with them. There's just 2 hearts sewn back to back. You could stuff them, put a bit of stuffing or wadding in between, but I kept making them, and I left some of the little holes open. Now, when I do the video on how to crochet a heart, I'll show you how to do this. Just leave the hole open in the middle, and I inserted a little bead, a little crystal into it. Now, the reason I did that is I have a twig tree. I actually went and bought a proper twig tree last year with lights on, you know, with lights kind of fitted into it. And I think I'll hang these on it. I've still left the twig tree up. I've taken the Christmas ornaments off it, but it's so dull here in the middle of winter and there's nothing but a wall to look out on, I'm going to put the twig tree in front of the window and hang any little decorations I make on it, just to brighten the place up. Now here's another one. You see, I haven't got around to putting a bead or a crystal into that yet. There's another one. You can see how it will sparkle when the light comes through it. Here's another green one with it. And I went on then and I made tassels with the hearts. Sorry. Now, these are the little puffy hearts again, and I've added beads to them. So these would be lovely just hung from a bag or hung from the spine of a junk journal. I've made 6 of them and they used up some beads and some tassels. I had an open bag of these tassels. I think I got them in the Works, back when the Works was open in the old days. So there you are. These would also be lovely hanging from a tree or from anything as a decoration, because there is a lot of sparkle in them. Well, in some of them. This one isn't very sparkly. But there you are. It's the last one. Another way of using it up. Now, fabric. I have a lot of fabric that I'm trying to use up or do something useful with. So I cut some of the fabric and made tags. Tag-shaped articles with it. And see, that's kind of a bit of linen look fabric. And I backed the fabrics. And I thought it'd be more interesting to use this part, the back of the design, rather than the front. But I've backed the tag shapes with iron-on interfacing just to give it a bit more body. And what I'm going to do is embroider on them. Just do ordinary embroidery, not machine embroidery, just ordinary hand embroidery. And like this with the bird, I'll try and incorporate the bird into the design. Now I just started cutting up these last night, because I had seen a video where a lady called, I think her name is Anne Brooke, I'll put a link to her video in the description box, but she's doing 52 sewn and stitched tags, 1 a week for the whole of 2021. And it's the slow stitching style. Now, I don't like the term slow stitching because it just makes, I know hand embroidery is easygoing, but it can be quite fast. And I stitched up this tag last night. Wait till I show you. This only took me a few hours. Now that's not slow stitching. There again, it's mainly straight stitch, chain stitch, French knots, lazy daisy. If there again, I'd like to develop this a bit further and maybe start a series of embroidery, showing you how to do embroidery stitches. Now, as I said, this, that's pearl cotton and that's stranded cotton there in the center. And while I was sewing the back of it on my machine, I backed it with another bit of scrap fabric. The machine seized up and we have been working on it for hours trying to get it to come back to life, but it hasn't. So I'm minus a sewing machine. My other machines are just standalone embroidery machines. So I will have to bite the bullet and get a proper sewing machine. Though, as I said, the one that seized up is a sewing and embroidery machine, so I can't hand it over to any technician to fix. It has to go back to the place where I bought it. But I thought this would be a nice idea if I did at least 1 tag a week and maybe did a tutorial on stitching. Now this, I didn't use a transfer, I just sat there and did that. This is just like drawing or painting with a needle rather than using a transfer or even drawing out lines or, drawing out a pattern to stitch. That's just totally freehand stitching. So that is one idea I have to keep going during 2021. But I will leave the link to the lady who's doing the stitch tags. What she's doing is she's sewing the tag onto cardboard, and I would prefer to keep everything fabric, but to each their own. You can decide if you'd like to, if you'd like to take the stitching aspect of crafting further, so that it is hand stitching. And you can also use embroidery cotton, or thin embroidery cotton to stitch with. So I've gone over the 10 minutes here, folks. So wish me luck with my hunt for a proper sewing machine that just sews and doesn't do anything else. The one I have, I will get it fixed eventually, but I can't give out to it because it has been an absolute workhorse for years. It has done so many sewing projects and embroidery projects that I won't speak bad of it, but it has let me down. So I'll go now, and just please keep an eye out for the crochet hearts video and the decorating, altering envelopes video, which I hope to have coming up either tomorrow or early next week. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Keep on crafting. Bye.